All right, and now we're going to do part two. So we're going to go over the answers to some of the answers to part two. Number one is asking you to graph a logarithm that was transformed from the original. We're also going to graph the inverse, the domain and range, and describe the transformations. Okay, and write the equation of the inverse. So there's a lot of steps to this problem. First step is to graph the original. And if you graph the original, you have to keep in mind that normally we have a point at 1, 0, but that point is going to be translated not sideways, but it is going to be translated down 2. So that point goes down 2 over here. Okay, so that is the first point. Also, you have to keep in mind that normally the asymptote is at the y-axis, and here, since we didn't move left or right, it's also going to stay on the y-axis. To find another point, what you have to do is figure out what x value can I plug in here that it gives me 10, because log base 10 of 10 cancels out. And we know that when x is 10, we're going to have log of 10. So if x is 10, what would y be? So negative 3 times the log of 10 is the same as negative 3 times 1. And then negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Minus 2 is negative 5. So 10, negative 5 is your second point. It doesn't fit on this graph, but we're going to just draw it like that. And we connect the 2 points and follow the asymptote. The inverse, all you have to do is flip. So if this is 1, negative 2, the other point is going to be negative 2, 1. Flip the x and the y. Same thing for this one. It's going to be negative 5, 10, negative 5, 10 over there. Flip the x and the y. Transformations are first it's going to reflect on the x-axis, and then vertical stretch of 3, and then translation down 2. The domain and the range of the original, the black one, the furthest left that it goes is 0, furthest right is infinity. The range is negative infinity to positive infinity. The inverse is going to be the same things, but the domain is now the range is now the domain. To find the equation of the inverse, you write the original, flip the x and the y, and then you're going to divide by negative 3, and then you're going to rewrite this as an exponential. So this is base 10 to the power of x plus 2 over 3, negative 3, equals y. Okay, here we have some equations, and we need to find out what x is. And the key point to this is to rewrite the bases in order to have the same base. So, for example, 1/5 and 25, we need to have them be the same base so that we can match the exponents. So 1/5 is the same as 5 to the negative 1 power. 25 is the same as 5 to the second power. When you have a power to a power, you're going to multiply. So negative 1 multiplied by that is going to give you 2x minus 3 when you distribute. And then 2 times 3x is 6x. If the bases are the same, you're going to have the exponents are also the same. So you can set the exponents equal to each other and solve for x. Here's more equations. And what you do here is first you want to remove anything that's outside of the root. And then you're going to get rid of the root by squaring both sides. You may have to factor out or move everything to the same side and make it equal to 0. Use the x method to factor out and get your answers. Okay, here we have composite functions. You're plugging in a function into a function, or plugging in the output of one. So you're plugging in the input into H, and then the output into F, and then that output into G. So what I mean by that is you look in the middle first, plug in -6 into the H function, and then whatever you get, you're going to plug it into the F function, and then whatever you get, you're going to plug it into the G function. So -6 into the H, whatever you get, plug it into the F, whatever you get, plug it into the G. Okay, so here we plugged in -6 first and got 37. Then we plug in 37 into the F function and got 73. And then you plug in 73 into the G of X function and you get 219. When you have a real world situation where you have to draw a parabola, okay, in this case, footballs are kicked, they go up and down. I like to start at 0, 0 and end at 32, 0 because they're 32 feet away. And then you find the height is 16. They tell you that the height is 16. Label your points, and then plug in what you know to find out what A is, and simplify the A, put it in front. When you do your inequality, you have to get the Y by itself on both of them, and then graph both lines. And then you're going to shade either the bottom if it's less than, or the top if it's greater than. And then where they overlap, that is your solution.